Well, here we are again, folks. Thank you for inviting us into your living room, kitchen, or if you've got one in the bathroom, I suppose you could watch us there. But to get started today, we have Murray Whitney with us, Don Carl, and we have a special guest. And I'm going to let Maury introduce the guest because this is basically his idea and it was a good one. And he knows the project a tad better than I do. So Maury, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Bob. We have with us today Jack Little, John Little, or call him anything you want, just to make sure you get the little in there. Because when he played center for the football team, he was little. 120 pounds, was it, Jack?
125.
Well, Jack is the chairman for the Committee of the Preservation of the Stone Arch Bridge. And we thought we'd bounce a lot of questions onto him and see what we can come up with. It's a real beautiful project that he's working with. And I don't think that he could do anything better than what he has already. But before we get started, I've got something here I'd like to drag out, and I think you can get it by pulling up here. And you know any of those guys?
There they are.
You have to put it this way.
Yeah. Can't quite. Oh, yeah, sure.
You remember that?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we made an award at the high school.
Yeah, this is when Jack, this is in 2007. And that's Jack here, and myself on this side. And the youngster that was the recipient of the 1948, he was a recipient of the 1948 Team Spirit Award. And that is LaBounty, Tim LaBounty. And that was in 2007. And Tim, in case you don't know Tim's lineage, he's grandson to Doug.
Doug Treat?
No, Doug in the police department there.
Oh, Doug Fish.
Doug Fish. This is his grandson.
You were fishing for something.
Yeah, I was fishing for something. So I just thought that would be appropriate to bring in here and show what Jack has done besides his hard work on the bridge. So at this point, Jack, we'll let you pop in and take over and see what you got.
Well, maybe Jack, you could probably give us a little history of this project that you're in and how you did get involved in it.
Sure, I'd be glad to. It's an interesting chapter in my life because it's been about 10 years. Next year will be 10 years that we've been at it. But we lay claim to the starting of this by David Proper. We all know David Proper, the local historian. And David recognized back in 2004 that the bridge needed some attention. And David also sat on a committee of the New Hampshire Historical Resource Council. And so David took his thoughts to that council, and in stepped the state architectural historian by the name of Jim Garvin. And Jim had always been in love with this bridge of ours. And Jim wrote a report about the bridge, the history and what it was all about. And with that report, we took it back to the Heritage Commission, which is where this started from. And the Heritage Commission took it to the City Council for endorsement to begin to study it and so forth. And they fully endorsed that. So from that was the start of where we're at. Now, the bridge belongs to the New Hampshire Department of Transportation, so the city doesn't own it. So the first hurdle was to get in concert with the DOT people and to tell them what we would like to do. What needs to be done is that the bridge from both ends pitches into the center, the topsoil on that now. So it collects water, the water filters down through the cracks of the stone, and it freeze-thaw cycle comes into play. Also, there's a number of trees that have grown up on the wing walls and the sides that the roots can do damage. So with these things in mind, we decided that we needed to have a complete evaluation done. And at that time, fortunately, we were able to get a grant from the LCHIP program of some $25,000. And we got another grant from Preserve America Fund. And between the two, we had enough to employ an engineering firm, which we did, which was Clough Harbor in Keene. And they did a very extensive a report of all the things that needed to be done. This is available at the Historical Society and at the Planning Department, and I think the Public Library has one of these.
Can we hold it up for
Sure,
the camera?
sure.
Get
Sure,
a look at the
okay.
thing, see what it
And
is.
so that's and from that we were able to determine what needs to be done. Then came along about 2008, 2009, and our Great Recession came into play. And so everything dried up, fund-wise and so forth. But the city of Keene did put some money in their CIP projections, which is construction in progress, in future improvements and so forth, which kind of got cut in half, I believe, but we still did have enough in there, but it was a 2-year program which just came out this past year. Does this sound familiar to you? Anyways, with that, we now have some funding, so we have employed an engineering firm to actually draw up the plans, specifications, bidding documents, get the necessary permits and all of these things. And that work is going on right now with a hope that in the meanwhile we have secured from the New Hampshire Moose Plate, the license plate, we have a $10,000 grant that was just issued to us.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Hey, that's great.
And we're back to LCHIP again, and LCHIP had the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance Committee a number of years ago noted this bridge as one of 7 to save in the state. Maybe you remember that taking place. So LCHIP has agreed to review our grant application for additional funding.
Wow, wonderful.
So with that in mind, we think that we will be in a position where maybe in the spring of 2014 that we actually will be able to do some work, such as grading the top, putting in a filter, a fabric to retain the water, and to get the swales properly, clean some of the trees and brushes off, and open up the wing walls and so forth. They're massive wing walls that go back as far as the bridge, if not further. And so that's kind of the current history of where we're at. And so maybe you guys have got some questions, but I also would like, if I have a chance to, is to share with you some of the early phases of the bridge, some of the history of the
I think that'd be great.
Go right ahead.
The history of the now the bridge is Maury's on this stuff too more than I am. But the bridge is originally originally it was B&M, right?
Yeah, originally it was a Cheshire Railroad,
Which
a group of entrepreneurs back in the 1840s and before saw a need to have a connecting rail line from western Massachusetts into Vermont. And at first they were going to run the line from Winchington to Brattleboro. But somehow that got changed to go to Bellas Falls.
I don't mean to interrupt, but
Go ahead, no, please do.
somehow it got changed. Now this is a story that I've heard, and I read it in reading as well. There was an influential stockholder who lived in Fitzwilliam, and that's why instead of coming from town depot, at the town line, instead of going towards Richmond, he wanted it to come up through Fitzwilliam.
Yeah.
And they told him they wouldn't be able to get it to Fitzwilliam because Fitzwilliam itself was on such a high level of ground. But so it ended up in Fitzwilliam Depot, which is about a mile or so from the Fitzwilliam Inn. Now I don't know if he owned the inn or not, but he was a stockholder. He probably did.
Well, that's
and so that's how it happened to come through through Fitzwilliam and Troy. The railroad engineers didn't want to go through that way because of the cuts.
Oh yeah.
And but I think as it panned out over the years, I think they did the right thing in coming that way because there's nothing on the other side. Even if there would have been a means for building business up that would use the railroad the other way, but they wanted to come in through. They wanted to come in through where the Ashwillet line comes in. It's straight ground.
Yeah.
And to go. I don't mean to take, but to go along with that, they also built the line, the Ashwillet line, and they wanted the people to go from Boston area to Greenfield, and then take the Ashwillet line and into Keene.
In the Keene, yeah.
But and the reason they wanted to do it because the little 440 locomotives that they had to go double headers when they were coming to Keene or most anywhere else. But one 440 could pull 6 loaded Pullman cars from Greenfield to Keene because of the flat ground.
Well, that's pretty interesting, Mario. But the bridge itself.
Okay, we get to the bridge. The rail line itself is 46 miles of rail, and tremendous cuts and fills along that line, as Maury mentioned, with 20-something arch bridges, over 100 box culverts. So the line itself is a piece of history in itself. And building it in those days, in the 1840s, would be like trying to build an interstate highway today. So that's important. The line itself is very interesting, but the bridge itself, Now,
there's a beautiful cut up in Troy where it goes through.
Oh yes,
it's a fairly deep cut, actually.
Yeah, some cuts are over 100 feet, and fills are over 100 feet. The bridge itself was designed by a fellow by the name of Lucius Tilton, and he was a New Hampshire man, and he was an engineer, and he and his assistant, a fellow by the name of William Whitwell, designed the rail, the whole road system, including the bridges. And Lucius was this bridge, when it was built in 1848. Was determined to be one of the historic, largest freestanding masonry buildings, structures in the United States. And it was noted in both in Congress and in the Engineering News Record, which was a very special engineering news record report. The stone was quarried in Roxbury on the Thompson farm. And I'm told it's within a half mile, but I think it might be a little more than that. And when the quarry was working for this bridge, creating these stones, they were also doing stones for the other pieces, and there were over 200 employees at the quarry at that time. Can you imagine that? Over 200 employees. And the stone was brought up to the bridge. In the winter of 1847, they started building it, and as you can imagine, they used wooden forms to help ease the stones into position. Well, the winter of 1847, the water was high, but we had a tremendous gale at that time, and they got the centering all in place, and it blew it down. So they had to start over again. And
sounds familiar.
So it was finished in 1848. And the first rail train came into Keene on May 16th, 1848. Now, Lucius Tilton, coming from the world of construction, I can just hardly imagine how they could do all the work they did with the engineering, the layout, the grading, and everything else, the stone cutters, and all of the stone fit with very, very little mortar. There is a little mortar, but very, very little.
Yeah, it's mostly dry. It's kind of like a lot of the old the old stone bridges that they made at that time. You tell somebody, like the bridge up at Gilsum, that
Beautiful bridge.
it's got no water in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they can't believe you. Yeah.
No water. I don't want to cross that. No.
Well, this Lucius Tilton, I get off on a sidetrack just a moment, but he's worthy of noting that after he finished this rail bridge and the road and completed the Cheshire branch, which eventually was bought by Boston and Maine, but he went on out to Chicago and became president of the Great Western Railway. And he amazed a fortune out there doing that. And when he went out to Chicago, out to Springfield, Illinois, he had to have a place to live. So what place does he get? But Abraham Lincoln's homestead, because Lincoln in 1861 was on his way into Washington to become president. So Lucius Tilton lived in Abe Lincoln's house out there in Springfield, Illinois.
That's a note.
That's interesting.
That's a note.
And he went on to amaze a fortune and died and is buried out there in Chicago. But his wife, who was a Keene woman, Lucreta Jane Wood, came back to Keene and lived out her life in Keene. And an interesting piece of this is that she had a fair amount of money that he had left for her, and she left a goodly sum of money to the Elliott Hospital. So what we know is Cheshire Hospital now, some of the initial funding for that was from this Lucius Tilton estate, which I think that was all interesting, the people part of the whole story.
Did that tie in with Elliott then, in some way?
Well, I don't know,
The old
Don.
hospital was Elliott's home.
Yeah, it was. It was Elliott's home, and it was called the Elliott Community Hospital.